Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys part 2 of my Beatles book collection. I know with my last video I said that it would be last Sunday when I got this video up, but I got busy. I start college tomorrow, so I was getting everything ready for that. And I got busy, so anyway, I know this video is technically like a week late or something, but I hope you don't mind and I hope you'll enjoy this video anyway. So let's just go ahead and get started. These are, again, Beatles and Paul McCartney related. Funnily enough, I actually am going to start with a Paul McCartney book, and they are the lyrics. A few of you mentioned that you saw this in the background of my last video, so I thought I would start off with showing it today first. These are really great books. This is Paul McCartney's second newest release. Here is book 1, A through K. I really like this. And if you take the dust jackets off, you have some more lyrics on the back. Oh, sorry. Of Average Person. I really love this picture. And then of course this book, or these books, do go into most of Paul's songs, whether it be with the Beatles or his solo work, and he just goes through and talks about how he wrote them, what his inspirations were, and things like that. So it is extremely interesting. Here is the second volume. Strangely, when I read through these, I read this one first, the second one first. I don't really know why I read it backwards, but anywho, I really like this picture. Oh yeah, and to read through these books, I have this little bookmark. Last video, I showed this book, and I mentioned that it came in a tin, and a few of you asked to see the tin, that it was over on my shelf, but here is the tin that it came in. And in it, I keep all of my Beatles memorabilia pack that I got from Amazon, I think, something like that. So it's got all kinds of little goodies in here. I don't know if I'm going to show them all because it's not really what I should be showing, but something notable about this pack is that it comes with these little books on each Beatle. They're supposedly the Beatles stories in their own words. So like with John's, it'll be like what he wrote. There's some facts about him and stuff like that. So they're really cute little books. But I think I'll probably show these in another video in greater detail. But what actually came with this tin originally were these magnets. And actually, behind me in my record player, I keep the other set. So like you can see here, it came with the Beatles portraits as well as the Let It Be portrait. So I display those behind me. But anyway, there is that. Staying on the Paul McCartney theme, I have Paul McCartney, The Legend Rocks On by Time magazine. This was put out for his, what birthday? 70th birthday maybe? I'm not quite sure, but I'll look in a second. Yes, his 70th birthday. It's a really nice picture. And this is a biography, pretty much. Another very nice picture. I think I'm going to say that about every single picture that I come to find, though. Next I have The Beatles, the Music and the Myth. And to be quite frank, I am not sure I get this book confused with another one that I've got, so let me look through this. Okay, so it basically breaks down each of their songs and their albums and tells about them. I love this picture right there. It's so funny. Next I have Conversations with McCartney. These are some very candid interviews with Paul McCartney. Actually, when I first read this, I was so excited to hear Paul talk about some things that he doesn't usually talk about, and this book is one in which he does open up a little bit more, in my opinion, even though he does tend to be pretty guarded. I do think these are some more candid interviews than anything else, but that is just my analysis of it. So I do highly recommend this if you are looking to see how Paul thinks about things and how he feels about the world itself and everything like that. I do recommend this book. Next is The Beatles, A Hard Day's Right, and this goes through their songs and the stories behind them. I think this was one of the very first Beatles books that I got. I believe it was either a Christmas or a birthday present, but it's been a while now. Next is the 100 Best Beatles Songs, or 100 Best Beatles Songs. This again goes through each of their, well, not each of them, 100 of their songs, and kind of analyzes them, and the authors say what they think about the songs and things like that. So like, here's an example of 8 Days a Week over here. It says, it gives a history about the song, and then it says why it made the top 100, what the song is about, did you know, the recording details, what we really like about this song being the authors, and that's kind of it. So they go through that with the 100 Best Beatles Songs. So this is kind of fun to go through, especially when you're listening to a certain song and you want to know more about it, because I really like to know about the recording details and stuff, like when it was recorded, how long it took, you know, who's playing what on the track. I really like that stuff. Aw, this is so cute. Aw, that's so cute. I didn't know that was on this. That is so cute. How cute is that? One of you asked me as well to show like if I had any music books, like sheet music books, and I do play piano. Piano is my main instrument. I'm actually going to college to major in music, and piano is going to be my instrument. But I do have this piano sheet music book because of that. Because I play piano, I do have the music book. Otherwise it would be sort of useless, although it does have guitar chords. But anyway, there are some of the songs mentioned. If you're looking for a Beatles music book, I do highly recommend this one. This is put out by Hal Leonard, and it's called the Beatles Sheet Music Collection for piano, vocal, and guitar. So I do highly recommend this. The songs are easy enough to play without a whole lot of practice, and you can kind of tweak them to, you know, I usually tweak the bass a little bit, because the bass in this like is not like the greatest arrangement ever, but the right hand, or the treble, is pretty good. So you can kind of do what you will with it. But there's this book. And keeping on the theme of sheet music, I have this vintage sheet music for yesterday. This came out in, I don't know what year, probably 65, because that was the year yesterday came out. Let me see, I'll look at it in a second. Yes, 1965. So I really, really am glad to have something like this. It's really cool. Found this at a at an antique store. And Pat Hughes was the lady who had this before me, so I hope she had a lot of fun playing this song. Next I have a book that I showed in my second video ever I put on here, I think. 1964, Eyes of the Storm, Paul McCartney's new book, his newest release rather. Again, I had a whole video about this, showing you inside and what I thought about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but it is a great book. I do highly recommend it. I am butchering this whole thing because it's so heavy. There we go. I didn't show it to you at all because it's so hard to hold. There's that one. Another really big book, the Beatles albums. This was a gift from a friend of mine and I really appreciate it. But this goes through, it's really good for if you're wanting to collect the vinyls. It has all kinds of vinyls that you should collect that are of the Beatles and the Beatles solo careers. So this is an extremely helpful guide, because especially when you get into the solo Beatles, there are so many different releases and different albums that I want to know them all, but it's almost impossible. So I'm really glad to have this book. It's so heavy though, but there's that one. Probably one of my favorite Paul McCartney books. Paul McCartney on stage, off stage, and backstage. And this is like a companion to the Back in the US concert film or documentary. And I really love this book. There's so many candid stories. Like it's so cool. One of my favorite things that I learned in this book was that he likes to pray with his band before they go on stage. And so I think it was the drummer, and he was talking about how they'll get in a huddle and Paul will just thank God for, you know, the opportunity to get to perform and do what they do. And I just thought that was really cool because, you know, God is the giver of music, so I thought it was cool that Paul acknowledged that. And that's part of his backstage ritual before shows, is to pray and thank God for the opportunity. So I really like that. But anyway, it's got like just stories about the backstage stuff and what happens, like if they have to cancel a show, like if Paul gets sick, and like the PR team, like what they have to do to make sure that everybody knows the show is canceled, and just the chaos that is. But that's all in here, so it's really, really cool. This is really changing up the pace. I have this little book called She Loves You, and this was a gift from my uncle. Shout out to him. And he found this, and it's like it's a story about this little girl. I think she's in middle school or so, and she wants to, it's set in the 60s, and she wants to meet the Beatles. She wants to go to a Beatles concert and meet them afterwards, and she runs a Beatles fan club. And so this story is basically like her story on trying to get her dream to happen. Now, I mean, it's probably for a younger audience, but I still really enjoyed this. It was a really sweet thing to read. And you could feel the Beatlemania, if you will, in it. So I think this is a very cute book. I should have showed this after I showed the Paul McCartney Backstage book, but I have this Paul McCartney World Tour program. I've only seen Paul one time in concert, which one time is one more time than I ever thought that I would get to see him, but I did not buy a tour program. So I went to a used bookstore and found this tour program, and I was like, well, okay, at least I get to see what it would be like to have one of his tour programs. But it does go through his career and like some Beatles movies and stuff like that, like right here. There are some really good high quality photos in this that are really nice to see. And finally, I have The Beatles Are Coming, The Birth of Beatlemania in America. This was also a gift from my aunt and uncle. This is a really cool book, honestly. It is so detailed in some of the experiences the Beatles had on their first US visit. And this is it's such a cool book because I love this time period in their career. It's one of the most magical times, I think, in all the Beatles' history. So this book never gets old to look through. It's just so cool. So anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We're so close to 500 subscribers, and that's like the magic number. So if you would like to subscribe, please do. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.